Okay, hi, good morning, my YouTube watchers. Good to see you today. Welcome to session 5 of session 6, actually. We're session 6 of Deep Ministries. And today we are beginning to unpack poverty mentality, something that most people can relate to, that most people really want to fix, and are super tired of having in their lives. So that's what we're talking about today. Very excited to be here. Just getting the rest of my streams set up. We're going to go ahead and get this live on. Let's see, live on my streaming page. Let's see. And we are live on the streaming page. Good morning. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Deep Ministries live stream. I'm going to go ahead and press hang on one second before I press record. Let's go ahead and go live on the rest of our channels. Good morning. Welcome to session 6 of Deep Ministries. So happy to have you here today. One last check. I just want to make sure that we are live on Facebook, and we're live. Yay. Okay. Now we are live everywhere. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm so happy to be here today. And I have some fun, exciting things going on today. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Tiff. Hey, Tariq. Hey, Claire. Hey, Lena. Hey, Mara. Thanks for coming. Glad to have you. We are here for session 6 of Deep Ministries live stream. The last thing we're going to do is press record. Recording in progress. Welcome. Okay, so today we're actually going to start talking about track 1. Track 1. Hi, Kat. Welcome. Kat, did you get the link to join our Zoom? I think on my email list, aren't you? A fun and exciting thing that we are adding today is that I have people in my Zoom room with me this morning, because if you have ever seen me teach, or you have ever watched anything I've teached. Oh boy, I need more tea. If you've ever seen anything that I've taught before, I've probably heard me say, I hate teaching to an empty classroom. It makes me feel like I'm alone, and I don't like feeling like I'm teaching to an empty class, and I love to have people to bounce off of. And so as of today, I'm opening up this Zoom to have other people join me. If you're already on my email list, then you have already received the Zoom link, and you are welcome to join this live stream live. Now, the benefits of joining the Zoom, unlike wherever you want, Kat, you can watch it wherever you prefer. The benefits of joining the Zoom are that I can more easily see your questions and comments. Even with Facebook, it limits it to about 2 or 3 comments, so I miss a lot of comments during the live stream. And each week, good morning, Claire. Each week when I choose whoever is going to be volunteering for the live healing, the live online healing session for the future, those people are going to be chosen from the Zoom room, because that's the easiest way for me to invite someone onto the live stream, is just to have them present with me already in class, if that makes sense. So if you are not on my email list and therefore did not get the Zoom link, if you're watching on Instagram, or if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or YouTube, The link to join my email list is in the bio. You can sign up for reminders for Deep Ministries live stream. And it's only going to be for a very short time, because once I've launched the membership, then the Zoom room will only be available to people who are in the actual membership. But I can't launch the membership yet. I'm not ready. Therefore, the Zoom room is available to everybody for a short period of time. If you are watching on my streaming page, go to the comments. Hi, Kat. Hi, Polly. Welcome, welcome. Go to the comments below the video. Hey, Julie. Welcome. Good to see you, babe. Go to the comments below the streaming video and you'll see my Zoom link in the comments. Then you can join in our Zoom class. And again, it's easier for me to answer questions in the Zoom room chat, and also anybody for the live online healing will be chosen from the Zoom room. So that's a brand new thing that I decided to do this week, and I'm loving it already because I can see all these beautiful faces and I don't feel so alone in the universe. I don't feel like I'm teaching to an empty classroom. So for those of you who are present in the chat, in the Zoom room, just remember, this is being live streamed to all of my social medias on my website. It's going into my back end. Now, most of the time, they probably won't see you unless you are actually chosen to be the person who's live streaming, but I will be, like, if you have comments or you have questions, I will be reading those out loud. So whatever you don't want the rest of the world to know about you, keep to yourself. Kat says, such profound healings and changes have been happening this week after her healing last week. Yay! Good morning, Joanna. How are you? I'm so glad that you could join us today. Well, how about that for a testimonial? Thank you, Kat. I so appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and screenshot that right now, actually, because that is a beautiful testimonial to share. I'm going to save that. Thank you. Thank you. And Georgina's joining us. Very cool. Okay. So yes, if you haven't joined our a Zoom class with me before, go ahead and locate the chat box. That is where I can kind of check in with you to see how you're understanding, to see what questions you have, and then I'll give you some more specific instructions when it comes to the online healing portion. Okay, so I'm very excited. Okay, let me be real with you. I'm half excited, half curious, fascinated. Can't wait to see what happens ish about taking our dive into track 1 of Deep Ministries. So track 1, for those of you who don't know, track 1 is dissolving poverty mindset. Okay. So we are going to be talking about dissolving poverty mindset, poverty mentality, scarcity mentality, until I feel that we're done talking about it. Okay, so we're going to be handling all kinds of different things over the next few weeks / months. This is the first time I've ever taught track 1 on Deep Ministries live, so I don't know how long we're going to go. So we're going to go and deep dive into poverty mindset, and dissolving scarcity mentality until we are done with it. Then we're going to switch to track 2. Track 2 is all about managing your emotions. And yay, Tiff, you sure did join the right day. So excited. Hey, Tiffy, if you want to join our Zoom room, you can. I'm not sure if you get my emails, but there's a Zoom link in the emails, or you can go to my bio. And yeah, I don't know. Actually, I think you'll probably miss it for today, but never mind. You're here, and I'm happy that you're here. Okay, so today we're just going to talk about what scarcity mindset is. What is poverty mentality? How do you know if you have it? How does it hurt you? And what can you do about it? Okay, so that is our topic for today's session. And then after that, we'll be switching into our live online healing. So for those of you who are in the Zoom class, feel free to drop your questions as we go along into the chat box. If you're on Facebook, I might be able to, hi, Carrie. I might be able to see your questions if I look at just the right timing. But mostly I'm going to be fielding questions from the Zoom classroom. Joanna says, ooh, it's going to be interesting, especially if true abundance has never been taught to us. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. That's absolutely why we are talking about dissolving scarcity and poverty mindset. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about what scarcity actually is. And it's really very simple to understand. Scarcity is simply the belief that there's not enough. That's it. The belief that there's not enough. So that could be not enough money, not enough love, not enough energy, not enough resources, not enough time, not enough attention to go around, not enough light. It could be anything. The it of there's not enough of it to go around could really be anything. And that's why scarcity is such a pervasive, insidious pattern, because it happens on such a low key level. Good morning, Allison. I'm so happy you could join us. It happens on such a low key level that we don't even know that it's happening. Also, why else is scarcity difficult to manage? Because 99% of the world has it. So if you have these thoughts and these patterns and these feelings, and you look around in the world, you realize, oh, well, I'm just like everybody else. Everybody, this is just the way that it is, right? And so it's really difficult to spot. It's really difficult to manage. It's very challenging to dissolve. But of course, we all want to be done, right? Raise your hand or pop a me, I do, if you are so done, if you want to be done with poverty mentality, scarcity mentality. Yeah, two hands, two hands. Love it. Georgina says, yes. Good morning, Georgina. Thank you for joining us. Happy to have you here. Hell yes, Joanna says. Kat says, so ready, as well as raising both of her hands. She is ready, guys. Fear of not enough love or money was definitely a thing for her. Heck yeah, Julie says, fantastic. So usually this belief that there's not enough is accompanied with anxiety or fear, right? Those are usually some of the main emotions that accompany scarcity. So let's talk about, how does scarcity mentality, how does poverty mentality show up? How do you know, right? If you're sitting there and you're like, well, I'm not poor. Or if you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm good at making money. Or maybe you're just thinking, I don't know if I have it or not. Like maybe I'm part of the 1%. Then I'm going to go over some signs and symptoms that let you know that you do have some kind of scarcity mentality going on in your life. Hi, good morning, Marvin. Hello. Okay, so here's sign symptom number 1. So when you think about money, or when you talk about money, or when you have a conversation with money or things like that, anything to do with money, you have some kind of fear, anger, loathing, or apathy come up. So if you have some kind of fear or anxiety or loathing or anger, or even just apathy, you're like, I could take or leave money. then you have some kind of scarcity pattern in your brain. Okay. If, hello from London. Ooh, we're in London. Georgina, ready to kick scarcity right out of your life. Yes. Fantastic. If you actually never have enough. So in practicality, if you don't ever have enough to go around, if you feel like you don't ever have enough money, or you don't ever have enough love or attention or time, right? If that shows up in practicality, then you have some kind of scarcity pattern in your brain. If you get jealous or angry or disgusted by people who have money, then you have some kind of distorted relationship or some kind of pattern for scarcity in your brain. Because when it comes to comparing yourself with others, you feel as if you fall short. And it's very easy to make that the other person's fault by coming up with some kind of reason that they have more money or they have plenty and they must have been taking advantage of other people. They must be swindlers, right? And so there's that real tension point between you internally, maybe quietly, and oh yay, Tiff's joining, and people who seem to have plenty. And Joanna says for her, it's being willing to compromise her needs, bend over backwards just to get the thing that she's scared there's not enough of. Hi, Tiff. Welcome. And wow, that is so insightful, Joanna. Good noticing. And thank you for sharing that, because I'm sure that there's people who are on our live stream today who can very much resonate with that. If you overspend or money leak, especially when you have extra, when you get extra money, when your income goes up, then you still end up feeling like there's not enough because of these unconscious overspending or money leaking behaviors. You have a scarcity pattern, at least one. Probably a few. Nobody really has one singular pattern. We have trillions of patterns in our unconscious minds. You probably got a good couple thousand limitations, limiting thoughts or beliefs around scarcity. If your bills increase to match your income increase, then you have some kind of scarcity pattern. Kat says she used to struggle with that as well. Yeah, absolutely. Or your overspending habits continue to increase while your income increases. I'll give you a great example of this. Back in 2019, in January, February, and March, I made over $30,000. So by April, I'd made $100,000, and I had spent $110,000. What? So after 3 months of making $100,000, I ended up $10,000 in debt. Bizarro world, right? And that behavioral pattern increases according to how much income you have coming in. It's not an accident. My business coach, Scott Oldford, shout out, a couple of years ago said that was his biggest source of clients, were people who had built 8-figure businesses, okay, so $10 million plus or more, people who had built 8-figure businesses who still lived paycheck to paycheck because they had leveraged themselves so widely in order to grow their businesses to $10 million or more that they still felt like they were struggling and scraping. Can you even begin to imagine how exhausting and frustrating and terrifying that would be? Where your bills on a monthly basis are millions of dollars. And so you have to make millions of dollars. And if you don't, you fall short of paying your bills, right? After all of that stress, after all of that energy that it took to actually create a $10 million business, and you still don't have any profit to play with, no, thank you, right? That is an indication that scarcity exists because there's a lack of responsibility around managing finances, because that is also one of the symptoms. Oh, I didn't put it on here. Or maybe I did and I can't find it. So one of the other symptoms is a lack of responsibility around managing finances. So there's like a head in the sand. If I don't ever look at it, then it's not going to hurt me kind of energy. And that is just more evidence of a scarcity pattern. Perhaps you're overly cautious, and maybe you're actually anxious about spending money. So if that describes you, then you still have some kind of scarcity pattern. Or maybe you hoard money or you're afraid of spending it. Hey, Tani, good morning. Because you're afraid that it won't come back. So you have money, but you just are too afraid to spend it because you're worried that it won't come back. I have a friend who makes $1 million plus a year. His business is on lock. But he told me just last week, he's been making over $1 million for a few years now. And he told me just last week, he still feels broke. He still feels broke. So these patterns exist no matter what is happening in your life. But these are some of the evidences that will show up when scarcity exists. Perhaps you frequently have fuck it moments. You have some money. I see some nodding. I'm not going to call you out, but I see you. You have some money and you see something that you want or need, even if it's a thing that you've been putting off maybe for having a couple of years. It's not necessarily it's not necessarily a need, but you've been wanting it for such a long time. And there's like a fuck it moment. Instead of budgeting for it, you just go ahead and buy that thing or get that thing because of the fear that money will never come back. Good morning, Lindsay. Thanks for joining. Because of the fear that money won't come back. So it's like, okay, well, it's here. Let me just go ahead and buy this thing and buy that thing and these things and this list of items that are not essential, but that I've been wanting and needing for so long, like for some kind of happiness quotient, etc., etc. Okay. Or if you obsessively think and talk about money. If you obsessively think or talk about money, then you have some kind of scarcity pattern. Or if you obsessively think and talk about making more money, then you have some kind of scarcity pattern. If you feel like it's, but okay, so you have this idea. Yeah, did that with supplements for the last couple of years. Yeah, absolutely. I completely relate. You have this idea that you want to make more money, but it just feels so unreachable. It feels like it's so out of reach, like you just can't wrap your hands around it. That's another symptom. If you don't open bills when they arrive in the mail, that's an indication that you might have some kind of scarcity pattern. If you wait till the last minute or when the bill is already late to pay it, that's an indication that you have some kind of scarcity pattern. Okay, if you avoid, I knew I wrote it down. If you avoid doing your budget, doing finances, or your taxes, you have some kind of scarcity pattern. Allison says, what about wanting to control your money too much? You want to know where every cent goes so you can try to make sure that you have enough. Allison, I love that question, babe, because that's so relevant. Okay, so healthy behavior, wanting to know where every cent goes to make sure that you have enough. Healthy, super healthy. Where it starts to get distorted is thinking about it all day long, doing it multiple times during the week, or every day, right? Like obsessively having control over your budget. Then you're actually keeping everything so tightly constricted, you're not creating any energy for the universe to be able to flow in more to you, right? It's like, ugh, if I just grip it hard enough, it won't be able to leave without me without me participating in that. But behind that anxiety around that process is a fear that you're really not the one in control. Okay, so that was a really beautiful question. Thank you. Joanna says she frequently had bucket moments after penny pinching, and then she had to struggle to make it back after and then kick herself. Yeah. Alison says, yes, that's her. So you'll know when you're easing up with your scarcity, when it's okay if you only balance or double check or check in with your budget like once or twice a week, because you can trust. Or also there's a sense of responsibility that needs to come in. What bills are coming out when? If you know that, you can pre-plan for it. So on Monday, you can make sure that there's enough money in all the right checking accounts and in the right savings account to know that the bills are going to come out. And if there's something unexpected, where is it coming from? Why is it unexpected? Did you forget? Did you spend money that you didn't realize? Did you sign up for something that you didn't realize was a subscription and you thought it was just a one-time payment? So when you have unexpected expenses, it's not just a let's sweep it under the carpet. No, it's I'm going to fight for myself. I'm going to find out where this came from. And I'm sure we'll do go more into that later. Lindsay says she's guilty of both, not opening bills and paying them last minute. And I fully understand because I was there for years and years and years. So there's no shame around this. That's something that's really important for you to know. None of this is shaming. It's not supposed to make you feel guilty. So if you feel guilty about knowing that you have some of these behaviors, I want you to just take a moment, surround that guilt with love, and just kind of blow it away. You don't have to feel guilty about having any of these behaviors. It's just important for you to know that they exist so that you can do something about it if you choose to. That's all. That's the only reason that we're talking about this. Not for you to like move into self-punishment mode, not for you to stop flogging yourself. It's because you really deserve to have a life of effortless ease with as much resources as you need, with as many resources as you need, as much money as you want. Hey, Nadia, welcome, babe. So that's why I'm going over how do you know if you have a scarcity pattern? Not because I want to rub your face in it. No, what's the point of that? You're not going to learn anything. Plus, you'll hate me. I want you to understand how your patterns show up in your life because they hurt you. I don't want you to live a life where you're living in pain the whole time. I want you to be comfortable and rich and happy and have all the experiences that you want. That's the life that you deserve. Okay. So also another way that you can tell you have some kind of scarcity around money is you have a glamour goal that's money specific. What are glamour goals? Well, we talked about them last week, but glamour goals versus tangible dreams. A glamour goal would be like saying to yourself, when I have made $1 million, I will have no more money issues. My biggest problem is I haven't made $1 million. That's why I have money issues. And that's a glamour goal because it is not real. It is false. How do I know it's false? Because I know people who have companies that are valued, some of my clients who have companies that are valued over $100 million, and they still had scarcity issues. They still had money challenges. So just because money is coming in does not mean in any way, shape, or form that your scarcity issues are going to magically disappear. They won't unless you actually do something specific to work on them. A tangible dream versus a glamour goal around money would be, okay, let me take a look at what my current bills are. Cool. Add in growth from my company or business, if you own a company or business, add in a vacation fund, add in a savings fund on a monthly basis, and then add a buffer, let's say 5K or 10K, right? What do you want or need extra coming in every month that would allow you to feel completely comfortable? What is that number, right? Maybe, just maybe, it's not $83,000 a month. Maybe all you need to feel comfortable and wealthy and save for the future, etc., etc. Maybe all you need is 25K. And at 25K, good morning, Harriet. Happy to have you here. And at 25K, you would feel like so much relief that it would actually free you up to do what you came here to do. We arbitrarily pick a number like $1 million or $10 million when we have no idea if that's what we actually want or need. And that's what makes it a glamour goal versus a tangible dream. You're absolutely allowed to have $83,000 a month. And why the heck not? You're absolutely allowed to have it. But don't think that it's going to solve all your money issues. Because the moment you think that, you're moving into a world of fantasy. You are not being realistic anymore. You have begun to create a beautiful Disney-based illusion, and it simply doesn't exist. And then you're going to spend so much time and energy racing for this money goal that doesn't exist because you think it's going to solve all your problems. I hope that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, go back and watch session 5, Glamour Goals versus Tangible Dreams, so you can see why it's so important. Cool. What are some other indications that you have scarcity? You personify money. That's a good one, especially as a bad guy. Money doesn't like me. Money hates me. Money is constantly running from me, right? When you personify money, especially from a place of blame, then you have some kind of scarcity around it. Good morning, Frankie. Hi, thanks for joining. You can justify any expense rather than budget for it. And that is the last one. Can anybody relate to any of those symptoms or evidences of having some kind of scarcity patterning in your life? If you can relate, just pop a yup, either in the chat or on the comments. Oh, I love you. Tiff says, what's a budget? That's such a great question, Tiff. And when we move into track 4, we're going to go into it in depth. So don't you worry. Just stick around. We're going to get to it. Oh my God. So good. Okay. So it's really important to understand that. Yep. Okay. Mara can relate. Georgina can relate. Allison can relate. Georgina, oh, too many to count. I completely understand, babe. That's why you're here, right? That's why you were ready to kick scarcity to the curb, I'm assuming. So scarcity is not a natural state of being. Scarcity is not natural. Scarcity is man-made. It is man-created, okay? We live in an abundant universe. If you don't know that we live in an abundant universe, I think it's, yes, session 4, we live in an abundant universe. Watch session 4, and I talk about the details and the proof that we live in an abundant universe. We are abundant souls. When we're born with the imprinting of abundance, because that's how we're created. We are created in the image of Creator. Creator has a, good morning. Creator has a deep understanding of abundance, infiniteness around resources. And our predominant resource that we use on earth is money, right? So that's why a lot of this work we're going to be doing in track 1 is going to be money related, even though I'm talking about all resource energy. So it's a societal pattern. Scarcity is a societal pattern that dates back tens of thousands of years. Okay. It dates back to whenever the landowners, I believe, don't quote me on this because this is just information I've been intuitively handed, but I believe this began in England when the landowners decided that they wanted to control the people who lived on their land. And in order to control the people who lived on their land, they had to create some kind of control mechanism. The people were happy. They weren't really afraid of anything. There was plenty of food. There was plenty of resources. And you can see these patterns in African countries, in countries that are considered third world countries. You can see the lack of obsession around resources. You can see that they're just happy just living. It's especially in the Western world that the scarcity mentality is like really prevalent. And then we take our scarcity mentality and then we take it to those countries and we force our scarcity mentality on them. But it originally started because of that control that the landowners wanted. They started to hoard resources. And what was the predominant resource at the time? Food. So they started to hoard the food crops. They just hid them in silos, in barns, wherever they could find a space to put these food crops. They would hoard the food and they would let it rot and grow mold and go bad, rather than keep the food supply open. Why? Because they desired some kind of control. And yes, Julie, very good. It absolutely still happens. And the easiest way to control fear is what? To threaten someone's life, to threaten a whole village of peoples with starvation, right? Is because when people are starving and you have the solution to their hunger, they will do whatever you say. They'll do what you say. They will do what you suggest, even if it goes against what feels right or ethical, even if it violates their soul contracts. When you put someone in this much scarcity, right, at the time, their lives depended on it. And it's still, they still do. We still have people dying of hunger, even though there's enough wheat produced on a yearly basis to feed 11 million people. In a year, there is enough wheat produced on a yearly basis to feed 11 million people. Y'all, we don't even have not million, billion, 11 billion people. We don't even have 8 billion people on the planet. There is enough food for everyone to live. There's absolutely no reason why anyone should be dying of starvation. And yet, we still are. They still are, because this control mechanism is still pervasive. And yes, they've been doing it with food and they do it with money. And then it's set up this kind of hierarchical structure where some people manage the resources and everyone else has to think that there's not enough resources to go around. There's plenty. There is plenty. There's tons. Plenty of resources. So scarcity, when you hear, because you've probably heard that concept, that idea before, that scarcity is a man-made concept, or maybe you haven't. Maybe this is the first time that it's ever been presented to you in this manner. But when I say scarcity is a man-made concept, I'm not talking about some kind of vagary. I'm not talking about some kind of somehow scarcity is a man-made concept because we all just kind of buy into it. And that's true. We all do just kind of buy into it. But I mean, it was specifically created. Scarcity was created with intention. It was created on purpose for the purpose of control. Now, we're not going to get into conspiracy theories, although I can entertain conspiracy theory conversations till, you know, the end of time. Honestly, it's all so fascinating to me. But we're going to keep it really here and now in the practical world, because what's important, yeah, Julie, fact is not conspiracy, that's right. Because what's important is how this relates to you, and what you can do about it. That's what's important, because before you feed the world, you have to feed yourself. Before you give all the money to the world, you have to make sure that you have enough money to take care of yourself and your family for as long as you need to. Cool. So I'm going to do a quick diagram. It's even more disturbing that parents use that same technique to punish children. I absolutely agree. I have a policy that no child goes hungry on my watch. So it doesn't matter like what it is or what it takes. Like it's not okay to use food as a punishment. Okay, cool. So here's your mind. I did a diagram like this on the first week, but we're going to talk about how it's specific to scarcity. Oh no, this is your primitive area of mind. Okay, so this is your mind. This is the primitive area. As you can see, I'm incredibly good at drawing. So I love to have the opportunity to draw. Oh, it's so fun. Okay, so the primitive mind is kind of the Neanderthal part of our brain. It's our Homo sapien, if you want the scientifically correct term. And we have about an eighth of Homo sapien DNA still to this day. Crazy. Maybe you know someone who has more than an eighth of Homo sapien DNA. Maybe you know someone who has less. Who knows? Hey, Mara, is that your hubs? Hi, Mara's house. It's so nice to see you. I've heard so many wonderful things about you. Anyway, continuing. Okie dokie. Okay, so we're born with two fears: the fear of the fear of falling, and the fear of loud noises. Okay, so these are scientifically proven, right? When a baby is born, in the delivery room, they check the baby's cognition for two things. If the baby thinks it's falling, does it splay out its arms and legs? That means that its cognitive functions are working. And if you snap or clap, does the baby blink its eyes? That's how you know that the cognition is working. So this is not a made-up thing. We're born with two fears: fear of falling, fear of loud noises. That's why so many people have a fear of heights. It's not actually a fear of heights. It's a fear of falling from that height. Makes sense. And then we also have two basic primitive responses. We actually have about 5, but for our purposes today, we're only going to talk about 2. And that is fight and flight. Okay, so it used to be back in the olden days that when a saber-toothed tiger would come along, we would have 2 options. We could fight or we could run away. Now, we're not confronted with life-threatening situations these days, but we still have these behaviors built in to our DNA. So how do they manifest now? Well, now fight manifests as the stressors of everyday life, which becomes anxiety. And then flight is what happens when anxiety gets too great and you flee into depression. Now, this is the reason, this little diagram right here is the reason that the entire track 2 exists, the entire track 2 of Deep Ministries, because we as a human species have no idea how to manage our emotions, specifically anxiety and depression. And we're getting to a point where 60% of our country in the United States is on some kind of drug to help their mentality, when all we need are to learn some basic, completely free coping mechanisms in order to deal with our emotions. So we're going to get into that in track 2. Now, between the ages of 0 and 8, we begin to develop our ability to logic and reason. But before we turn 8 years old, everything that we see, everything that we hear, everything that we're exposed to becomes a program in our brain, becomes a pattern, becomes a behavioral line of neurons that connects in our brain. Okay, then at 8 years old, and those are positive and negative. Positive behaviors, you learn how to talk in sentences. You learn how to feed yourself. You learn how to dress. You learn how to walk, etc., right? You learn that hugs are so comforting. Negative, you learn that spinach is gross. I actually love spinach now, but as a child, you could not get me to eat spinach. And other kinds of limiting beliefs and patterns and programs that we're going to talk about in a minute. Okay. Between 8 and 13, our logical processes are becoming solidified. It's not until the age of 13, by the way, that a child is able to conceptualize something from someone else's perspective. Before the age of 13, all logic revolves around them. Even if they can understand basic linear logic, they're not able to do the put yourself in someone else's shoes. Mentally, like biologically, their brain does not have the capacity to do that until the age of 13. Okay, at 13, something very important happens. This filter called the critical mind, we call it the critical mind in my world. You could also call it logic. It solidifies. And now it creates a barrier. It's a protective mechanism. So its purpose is to protect. However, because the brain doesn't perceive the difference between right and wrong, good, bad, black, white, important, not important, the unconscious mind takes everything as equally valid, equally true, equally important, whether or not it actually is. It just takes it in and it creates these programs in the unconscious mind. And then the critical mind, the logic sensors, the logic filters create this barricade. Okay, so they create this barricade to your unconscious mind. And this whole thing makes up about 95% of your total, hi Ash, of your total mental capacity. 95% is unconscious. What does unconscious mean? It happens below your level of awareness. You don't know these things are down there, which is what makes the unconscious mind so capable of fuckery, is because we don't know what's down there. Sometimes these things happen and we have zero clue. And when I say sometimes, I mean most of the time these things are happening, we have zero clue. Here we have our conscious mind. That's only responsible for 5%. And that's logic, reasoning, analyzing, decision-making, willpower. All of that only makes up 5% of the brain. It's right here in the prefrontal cortex. This bit right here is the only bit that we have control over. Just right here. The rest of it, we don't have control over. Scary, right? Very scary. Okay, but let's talk about what can we do about that? Why do we care? Why do we care? Okay, because you have a thought that says, I want to make more money. And that thought is like, yeah, and it's logical. I want to make more money because I want to go on more vacations, because I want to save more for the future, because I want to do more good in my community. It's logical, it's rational. You've analyzed it, you make a decision. I'm going to make more money, right? And then this thought hits the critical mind, and the critical mind goes, what's down there? What patterns will support this thought to become a behavior? Because behaviors are here. Behaviors happen in the unconscious mind. What is a behavior? A behavior is any action or reaction that is automatic, that you don't have to think about, that you don't have to process, that you don't have to make a decision, that you don't have to be intentional about. Behaviors exist in the unconscious mind. They are run by your programming, by your beliefs. Okay, so this thought comes down and it goes, okay, if we could take this thought and make it a behavior, which would be ideal. If we can take the thought, I want to make more money, and turn it into a behavior, that behavior now governs everything you see, everything you hear, everything you think, all of your emotions. And it automatically gears you towards noticing more opportunities, or noticing where you can make more money, or noticing where you can expand. Everything within your unconscious and conscious mind is aligned, pointed in the same direction. All of the energy is moving towards the same thing. That's what we want. We want this thought to become a behavior. But your critical mind, your guardian, checks down here. It's like, oh, but there's never enough. Oh, but, are you valuable enough for that? Aren't you already getting more than you deserve? Or, well, my parents only made this much money, so it's not right for me to out earn them. Because I love my parents. I don't want to shame them. I don't want to embarrass them. All of these, by the way, are unconscious beliefs. One of my clients, Mike, could not break 15K a month. He could not break the $15,000 barrier. And so we located this limiting belief, which was absolutely about his dad. His dad was his hero. His dad died when he was in his teens. It was a devastating event. And so in his mind was the limiting belief, he shouldn't make more money than his dad because that would shame him posthumously. Like, crazy, right? And so we just cleared that limiting belief. And by the time he came back for his next session, he'd already made 25,000. A few months later, he hit 50, and he kept growing. I'm not sure where he is now because I haven't talked to him for a few years, but that is the power of a limiting belief, to be able to stop you from creating something that you consciously think with your sweet little 5% of your brain. You consciously think is just kind of like makes sense. Okay, so our limiting beliefs, our programs, control everything. Why? I'm going to explain. Can you handle more science? Can we handle more science still, guys? I love science. I fucking love science. If we can handle more science, give me a thumbs up. Okay, good. Thank you. Just a teensy bit more science until we move on. Cool. So we are exposed to about 11 million bits of information per second. Okay. So every second, our brain is receiving 11 million bits of information. Our conscious mind only has the capacity to process and understand 40 to 60 bits of information per second. What does that mean? That means that 999,940 bits of information are going unprocessed. Okay, they're just being dumped into your unconscious mind. 10,999,940 bits of information not being processed, not being understood. So how does the mind choose which 40 to 60 pieces of information it focuses on per second of that 11 million? Easy. It chooses it from your unconscious programming. Why? Because our unconscious mind can recognize truth. Now, I'm not talking about spiritual truth, aligned truth. I'm talking about what's programmed in your unconscious mind. Your conscious mind goes, ooh, that feels true for me, whether or not it actually is. It doesn't have to be true in the aligned spiritual sense in order for it to feel true for you, because of the programs that exist. Okay, does that make sense? I know it's kind of complex, and I know it's still kind of early on a Sunday, so maybe your brains are not quite there yet. But if you, not if, well, I guess if you have some kind of scarcity programming in your unconscious mind, and you have this thought, I would like to make more money, what happens is it just kind of gets bounced right back out again, doesn't become a behavior. And then the unconscious mind will search out proof of these limiting beliefs. So even if you desire to make more money, you'll only notice where there's shortages of money. You'll only notice other people who've tried so hard and haven't gotten there, or times that you've tried so hard and have failed. Or you'll notice people who are making more money than you, and it's going to bring in other stuff like, am I good enough? Can I do it? It's not possible for me, right? It's going to reinforce, going to take those 60 bits of information to reinforce what already exists in your unconscious mind. That is why it's so hard to change behavior. That is why you can't just have a thought and watch it manifest in your life. That's why you can't just make a decision and find yourself sticking to the behavior that's going to need to create the outcome that you've chosen consistently. That is why you can't read a book and hope to be different. You can't watch a video and hope to be different. You cannot talk your limiting beliefs away. The only way to actually clear your limiting beliefs is you have to use some kind of technique or process that can get through this barrier. Most things can't. Talking cannot. Energy clearing cannot. Energy healing happens on an energetic level. It's not actually touching the brain. It's not changing the neural pathways in your brain. There are quantum processes that can do that. There's quantum healing processes like quantum astrology, quantum physics, sorry. Oh boy, quantum physics, processes based in those things that can do that. But other than that, you're looking at hypnosis, neuro-linguistic programming, EMDR, visualization. But visualization, things like mantras, a self-led visualization, affirmations, they need to be done right. Because if they're created in a way that your unconscious mind rejects it as a not truth, it's not doing anything at all except for wasting your time. So, okay, so that is how it works in the brain. So the brain chooses what to focus on according to its agenda. And by the way, I don't know if you know this or not. Yes, the science, yes, more science. I know, me too. Love the science. Yes. Oh, Kat, that's right. She's dedicated to my teachings and a new quantum energy school that you're attending. Love it, love it, love it. Yay. And my way is not the only way. Like, I don't think I'm God of the world. Like, I don't. But I do know that based on my, based on the evidence, based on my clients' testimonials, based on my clients being able to make over $600 million during a pandemic when most of them started at less than 5,000. I know that what I'm doing works. Not saying it's the only way that works. There is no one way. Just to throw that out there. Okay, cool. So that is what scarcity is. That is how it's created. Let's talk about how scarcity hurts us. So this is relevant on an individual and a global scale, which is why Dissolving Poverty Mindset is one of my global initiatives for deep ministry. But it keeps us trapped in our current situation because the brain's job is to keep us safe. And what is safe? What is known. What we know is safe. Anything that's outside of the known is not safe. Therefore, the brain works against it. So it keeps us trapped. And if we don't like where we are, that sucks. Maybe we don't want to stay trapped in our current situation. Maybe we want to move beyond. It keeps us obsessively distracted focusing on money. Because when you're focusing on money, guess what you're not focusing on? You're not focusing on healing. You're not focusing on your growth or evolution. You're not focusing on what you came to this planet to be, to do. You're not focusing on your mission. You're not focusing on helping your community. You are just focusing on money. Obsessively distracted by it. The genius behind this diabolical setup fascinates me. It's fucking genius. Whoever created these systems of scarcity were so freaking wise. And they're constantly, I mean, not wise in a good way, wise in a terrible way, right? They had like major agendas, but the actual fact that this exists and it has existed for so many thousands of years and it still exists this day, like I gotta give it up, you know, like props. Like awful. So we're gonna still counteract it and unwind it. But wow, so effective. Hey, Savi. Good morning. Good morning, and Leah. Thanks for joining. It keeps us telling the same story. Things will never get better, so why try? It's hopeless, right? It makes us settle for scraps from life and oh, even twists it. Well, you should be grateful. Well, you should be grateful because it's not as bad as this person, right? And so instead of like having us focus on wanting more, deserving more, it keeps us narrowly focused on just settling for the barest, most like minimum scraps from life. Because this is just the way things are. This is the way things are for everyone. Hey, Mom, good morning. Yes. No settling. Ew. Julie says this all the time. It's horrible, but so smart. It's genius. Oh my God. It's brilliant. It's like dastardly brilliant, right? Like, so like, wow. And it's got us all fooled on a global scale. I mean, that's impressive. Like, that's pretty great and terrifying. Yeah. It keeps us thinking and being small. We forget who we are and how powerful we are because all we're doing is focusing on money, worrying about money. So we're not doing all the other stuff. It keeps the anxiety. Oh, okay. Here's the craziest part, you guys. The anxiety is one of the lowest vibrating energies. And it keeps the vibration of our earth low. Anxiety keeps the vibration of our earth low. Do you know that the vibration of our earth is about 73% fear? In fact, it's gone up. And that was intentional, right? So part of that is anxiety and the rest of that is fear, keeping the vibration low. And anxiety about money is the number one cause. That was really terrible grammar. Let me go ahead and rearrange that sentence in my brain. Cool. Money is the number one cause of anxiety, at least in the Western world, by a landslide. By a landslide. Worries about money are the number one cause of anxiety, which is so fascinating to me. So our money worries on a global scale are keeping the vibration of our entire planet low. And since each individual does contribute to the, good morning, Steph, how are you? To the overall vibration, your job is to work on your own shit around money, okay? That's how you positively contribute, good morning, Dora, to the rising of our vibration. We never live up to our potential. We don't ask for more because we're made to think that the scraps from life are all we're going to get because that's all everybody gets. And that's just the way that things are. So we don't ask for more. We don't go out for better opportunities. We don't look for other ways for people to notice our value. And we don't stretch to the edge of our capacity. There's this beautiful scene in Unbreakable that just reminds me constantly of of being able to stretch to the edge of our capacity, which is when he's trying to see how much weight he can lift. If you haven't seen Unbreakable, it's really good. But he's trying to see how much weight he can lift. And his son is like putting paint cans and paint cans and paint cans. And then they run out of paint cans and he can still lift it. And then they're getting other stuff like, tin cans and what do you guys call them here? Cans of food. Yes, not tin cans. Yeah, that's a British thing. And they're putting those on, and flour, and maybe I'm exaggerating because it's amazing to do so. Anyway, so all the stuff that they're putting on his bar, he can still lift it. After all that, he still doesn't stretch to the edge of his capacity. And we don't, as a practice, we don't reach to the edge of what we can do, of what we're capable of, because, spoiler alert, we would never get there. We would never get to the edge of what we're capable of because we're capable of so fucking much. We are so capable. But guess what? Our fear around money keeps us distracted because we're over here worrying about this small thing while the world is over here waiting for us to live in it. And Julie says, and we can be this brilliant because we see it. Yes. And Zavi watched Kingsman last night, which is so good. I love it. And then we also pass it along to our kids and our grandkids, and we just keep this cycle going and going and going and going and going. Joanna says, because we're also programmed to put our head down and work hard until retirement. Yeah, because we have another societal belief that says, work hard and you'll get what you deserve. Biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard in my entire life. Yes, of course, you have to do something. You have to work. Like, you can't just sit on the sofa and eat bonbons. But you don't have to work hard and get up at 5 a.m. and go to sleep at, falling down p.m. And then expect that your everything is going to come in. It's not the way that it goes. Like, that's just not the way that this place, this earth works. It did for a while. Not anymore. Not anymore. And and we don't look for better ways to be recognized for our value. We waste our life chasing a thing that doesn't mean anything, and we miss the actual point of living. That's really how scarcity hurts us. That's really the truth of it. We waste these precious years that we have on this planet chasing something that doesn't matter. Because money exists in abundance. All you have to know is how to tap into it. All you have to do, she says, because it just sounds so easy. All you have to do is clear out the limiting beliefs that are stopping you from accessing your money. You might be able to eat bonbons earlier if you're earlier family. Great karma, Savi says. Yes, absolutely. But then you're going to still accrue negative karma if you don't do something according to your thing. Nobody gets to skate through. I mean, we do get to skate through because we have freedom of choice. But we all came with some kind of assignment. If you choose not to do your assignment simply doesn't get done because there is no one who can do what you came to do except for you. There's no one. So if you don't do it, nobody will. And that's the truth of it. That is the truth. Okay, so what can we do? We have to heal the original patterns. Now, I already mentioned that we need special processes or techniques to be able to remove the original programs. Okay, like hypnosis, NLP, EMDR, quantum processes. You have to use things that get through the critical mind. Get through the logic barrier. So, obviously, one of the things I'm here to do is to undo this, is to unwind this. So I am teaching a class on February 24th. It was supposed to be last Thursday. I was not ready. So I'm teaching a workshop on February 24th called Transform Your Money Mindset in 2022. If you're on the streaming page, the link is just below the video. If you're in the Zoom class, I'm actually going to go ahead and grab the link for you right now. If you are on any of my social medias, you can find the link to sign up for that in my bio. But I highly recommend it The class is called Transform Your Money Mindset in 2022. And I'm going to go over some of the things that you can do in 2022 to be able to unwind this. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in one day. And then for those of you in the Zoom, if you're not signed up for this class, I popped the link to sign up right in the chat. Again, if you're on one of my social medias, you can go to my bio. If you are watching this from the streaming page, the link is right below. Also, if you're noticing that I'm asking a bunch of questions and answering a bunch of questions, and you don't know where they're coming from, it's because it's the people who are here present with me live in my Zoom room. It's also from this place that I'm going to be choosing my weekly person, my weekly volunteer for online live healing. It's going to come from the Zoom room. If you didn't know about that because you're not on my email list, then join my email list. So if you're streaming from the live page, you're probably on my email list, but if you're not, go ahead and just scroll down underneath, sign up for Transform Your Money Mindset. It says join the movement, join my email list. I'll be sending out the Zoom link for the class while it's free every week, and anybody and everybody is welcome to join our class live, and that's where I can see and filter most of the questions. That's where I'll be choosing our weekly person. So cool. Next, we're going to do a little kind of focused meditation just for a few minutes. But before we do that, if you are live in my Zoom room and you would like to volunteer to be the person who is doing the live online healing today, find your reactions button and raise your hand. I'm going to go with intuition on this. So literally, I'm just going to let God tell me who to pick. So please don't take it personally if you're not chosen today. Come back next week, and next week, and then next week, and then next week. One day, it'll definitely be you. So go ahead and find the reaction. Raise your hand if you would like to be that person. And then in the meantime, Kat's like, unless there's another volunteer, I would always step up. Thank you so much, Kat. Appreciate you. Really appreciate you, because how could I possibly, hi Jen, good morning. How could I possibly do my online live healing if I don't have a person to do online live healing on? Salvi's having spaghetti bolognese. She might watch the second Kingsman and everyone sign up. It'll change your life. All righty, so go ahead and just take some nice deep cleansing breaths. As long as you're driving, if you are driving, please don't close your eyes. If you are not driving, please close your eyes. Open your heart and just breathe out any heaviness or tension that's sitting on top as you open your heart, just breathing it out. And I want you to focus on this mantra. I am open to seeing and recognizing the resources that will help unwind my scarcity mindset or poverty mentality. So any thoughts that are distracting you, that are going a million miles a minute, just thank those thoughts. Let them kind of roll away to the side for a minute, and then bring your attention back to this mantra. I am open to seeing and recognizing the resources that will help unwind my scarcity mindset, poverty mentality. Breathe it in. And release. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And just ask your mind to create that space for you, to give you permission to start noticing everything that's going to help and support you unwind and dissolve your scarcity mentality, poverty mindset, because it's time for things to be different. You deserve to have what you want in life, and you deserve for your life to be full of ease, wonder, awe, bliss, movement, fluidity, evolution, expansion. You deserve it. It is your divine birthright to have that. Anything that's stopping you from having that has got to go. I'm sure you agree. I'm coming back to the body, back to the room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eyes open, wide awake. Hi, welcome back. I would love to know your thoughts, your experiences, anything that came up for you around that. And while you type that, I am going to invite Miss Julie. Miss Julie, you are our universe chosen volunteer for today. So I'm going to go ahead and pin your camera so we can see you. Could I type it in the chat? Would someone type that in the chat? I am open to seeing and recognizing the resources that will help unwind my scarcity mindset, my poverty mentality. And Miss Jen, if that's still you, and if you want to see this next bit, hop over to Facebook. You can see it on my personal page. We're going to do some live online healing right now, which is going to be fun. Okay, Miss Julie, let's go ahead and unmute you. Right? Isn't it amazing? Hi, Julie. How are you today?
So good. Thank you so much for this. So awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Al. Appreciate you, sweetheart. Oh, yeah. Thanks for volunteering. I'm so grateful. Okay. So, Jules, I know we've had some time to connect. What do you feel like is your pressing challenge at this moment?
Really, when you were talking about the changing of the behaviors, and, for me, I feel like I'm at that point where I really need to access that behavioral change so that I can move forward. Like I think about exercise. I mean, I do yoga, but I'm like, I need to exercise. It's like little things that accumulate because yes, I am ready to not have scarcity. And that's what has been coming up for me.
Thank you. Okay, so I'd love to know something a little bit more specific. And when we're talking about not having scarcity, what do you envision being there instead?
Safety, joy, relaxation of never having, like, I when I think about not having scarcity, I think about not the obsession with money, like not having to think about how it's going to come and then my resistance to making it come, and even just relaxing and letting it come. And it's just, I'm tired of thinking about it. I just want to do what I'm here to do and just allow it to come to me.
Yes.
That feeling of just being fully myself and
And
relax in that.
fully yourself, relax in that, and supported financially and resourcefully in that. Yeah.
Without
Relax.
having to do things,
Out of alignment. Yeah.
yeah, out of alignment. Yeah, for sure. And then thinking, oh, but everyone else is doing that, but it feels crappy to me. So there's something wrong with me, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I can tell you in no uncertain terms, I don't do anything out of alignment.
That's why I love you.
At all. If I don't want to do it, shit doesn't get done. If I don't want to go to some place, I don't go. But it took me years, right, to get to that spot, right? To live in alignment and have resources attract to me naturally as and when I want them. Lots of healing. Cool. Without having to do things out of alignment. And in case you never heard of out of alignment, or if you're not sure what that would look like, essentially it's doing things that don't feel good to you, doing things that you don't enjoy, doing things that don't light you up in some way, right? We have this thought, well, everybody has to do it, just like you just said. Well, everybody has to do things that are out of alignment. I disagree. I think that everybody has to do things that are in alignment. Maybe some of those things that are in alignment, like things that have to do with self-mastery, aka discipline, have a distortion related to it, which needs to be healed. But to live in alignment with our soul means to do things that support our evolution all across the board. Yeah, and even if you have to work, like even if you can't get your business off the ground right away, of course you have to work. You have to pay bills as part of being a responsible human. But are you saying that it's not possible to find a job that feels in alignment? Bananas, bizarro world. Of course you can, right? You can always find something that feels in alignment, that lights you up, that you enjoy, things like that. Cool. All right. So you want to access that behavioral change, be fully yourself, relaxed, supported without having to do things out of alignment. Cool. Let's see where we want to zero in on. Okay, cool. We're going to actually do a pretty simple process. Jules, I'm going to walk you through a connection with your intuition. And we're going to have your intuition tell you step by step what the next 3 to 5 things are that you need to work on that will help you get to this ultimate goal of being relaxed in yourself and fully supported while also in alignment. How does that sound? Sounds good. Sounds good. Oh, okay, go ahead and take some nice deep cleansing breaths. And anyone is welcome to follow along with this process. However, you are doing so at your own risk. There are no guarantees, okay? So if you would like to do so, but I'm certainly not going to be held responsible for anything that happens if you do it unguided by me. Cool. All right, so take some nice deep cleansing breaths, Jules. As you breathe, go ahead and open your heart center. Ooh, that thing is locked down like Fort Knox. I think it will be as easy as finding the key. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Let's just call your unconscious mind forward. Can I just ask your unconscious mind to come into the room? And when it's here, can you nod your head for me? Good. Julie's unconscious mind, I'm not going to take anything from you today that you are not willing to release. That is unethical. According to the universal law of divine sovereignty, the only changes that we're allowed to make are ones that are sanctioned by you, the person, Julie, your unconscious mind, and your higher self, your divine team. Got it? Yes. Okay, beautiful. Excellent. Okay, so your unconscious mind relaxed, not so much like panic, red alert. Get to your stations. You can keep your eyes closed. I'm going to have you keep your eyes closed for the rest of our time until I ask you to open your eyes. I'm going to count you from 5 down to 0. And on each count, notice that you have a tendency to go twice as deep or 3 times deeper or 5 times deeper into a state of peace, calm, and relaxation. Starting at 5, you'll never lose control of your body or mind. 4, just allowing your body to kind of settle. 3 is noticing any haywire thoughts that are trying to distract you. Thank them for being present and allow them to drift off to the side. 2, 1, releasing any heaviness that's sitting underneath your heart door as you open it, just breathing it out. 0. Deeply relaxed. Now, Jules, I'm going to count you from 3 down to 0. And at 0, I want you to find yourself in a place that feels very secure for you. So no one and nothing can get in without your permission. Okay. It can be in nature. It can be inside, indoors somewhere. It can be a place that exists. It can be a place that never existed. It can be here on Earth, or it can be somewhere in the cosmos in a different dimension, wherever. 3, 2, 1, 0. When you're there, nod your head for me. Good. Let's invite and allow your intuition to come into the room. When it's here, nod your head. And if it's not showing up, nod your head for me. Or is it here now? Oh, perfect. How does your intuition manifest to you, Julie? What does it look like? Does it sound like something?
It shows up as like what I call my knowings. It's very, I don't know if you want to say emotional.
Yeah, beautiful. Does it have a shape or a color associated with it?
No.
Good. So it's more of a feeling, more of like the feelings of your intuition.
Yes.
Gorgeous. Your knowings. Love that. Okay. Ask your knowings if you can ask it some questions today. How does it respond? Good. Okay. So question number 1 is, we'll give it a no-brainer. The life that you're living right now, is this the life that you're destined to live?
No.
Good. As far as abundance and resources, what is out there for you?
Whatever she wants.
Ding, 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 ding. Good. So we're sharing with your knowings that what you want, what you desire is to be fully yourself, relaxed in that, and supported by resources without having to do things out of alignment. Ask your knowing, is that possible for you?
Yes.
How does it feel to know that?
Amazing.
Yay. Okay, let's go ahead and call your unconscious mind into this room so that we can have some conversation between your unconscious and your intuition and you. Your unconscious mind is here, nod your head for me. Is it here? Oh,
Yeah.
good. I know. You drop deeper into hypnosis in the quiet and I have to pull you back out. I love it. You obviously meditate a lot and have for a long time. Your brain loves this state of relaxation. Okay, so let's have your unconscious mind connect with your intuition and let's have them acknowledge each other. And how do they each respond?
With respect.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. How does your unconscious mind seem to feel in this space?
Entitled.
That's hilarious. How about how does your intuition shift, if at all, when unconscious enters the space?
Gets smaller.
Interesting. Okay. Okay, first let's ask intuition. Intuition, what needs to be done next for Julie to be able to move fully into being relaxed in herself, fully resourcefully supported, and in alignment? And what does your intuition say?
My intuition says that I need to make a plan and stick to it.
Got it. What kinds of elements will this plan entail?
Ones that are kind
Mm-hmm.
and reasonable
Mm-hmm.
and that I like.
Yes. Ooh, beautiful. So kind, I guess, confirm or deny this for me if it's, let me know if this resonates. Kind seems to have the energy of having compassion around knowing what your present limitations are. Does that feel like it resonates?
Yes.
Okay, good. Reasonable feels like taking into account your humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, which means you don't try to do anything perfectly. You don't try to do consistency 100%. Like you're giving yourself permission to have energetic fluctuation, to have feelings, right? Know your human limits.
Yeah, like not needing to be perfect at any
Yes.
point, but just exerting myself.
Yeah. It's fine to expand within this energy, right? To push your boundaries, to grow, to keep improving upon the types of actions you take or the quality of actions you take or the quality of interactions, etc., etc. And then things that you like, which keeps you in alignment, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Okay, alignment. All right, what else? What else do you have to do? So we've got make a plan. Excellent. What else?
To stay present, that so that the mind isn't constantly going into what it doesn't have.
Mm,
You know, there's a
yeah.
lot of abundance in the moment, but it's hard to stay present when you're building something or creating something. So
Absolutely.
like basically enjoy the process.
Mm,
Like joy is what is being said, like joy in the process.
love that. Beautiful. And that in itself is a variety of different steps, right? Learning how to stay present is a process in itself. Yes, totally. Okay. Any other thing that your intuition suggests that you can do in order to move into the space of fully being yourself, relaxed, supported, aligned?
Saying slow down. Like
Aha.
slow.
Can it be more specific? What does it need you to do to slow down?
Bring what I'm assessing. It actually gave me a vision.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you said meditation, so it showed me in walking meditation.
Mm.
So like when you're doing walking meditation, you're just consciously in movement, like everything is conscious. So like bring awareness
Mm.
to, so there's a lot of awareness. It's just like full awareness, not
Being present with your body where it
being
is.
present all the time. Like there's nothing that's like what do you call it? Like we like to numb out and watch videos. Well, I do,
Mhm.
and learn stuff or whatever. And it's saying like whatever it is, just be conscious, and that awareness in the moment will elevate whatever being me is.
I love it. Beautiful. It makes sense too, because if you're always rushing or obsessing mentally, there's no space for your intuition or creativity to come in. So, even if intuition, hey, Marcus, if intuition has a bunch of different ideas of how to take you to this place that you want to be, you don't have space for it unless you slow down, unless you become aware. There's a physical practice. I totally forgot what it's called right now. Oh, mindfulness. Mindfulness. It's essentially walking meditation is mindfulness, right? Taking in everything you can see, everything you can hear, and what you feel, what you smell, what you taste. Yeah, that awareness in the moment will um, elevate what being you is. I love it. So you'll be able to more easily notice what is a distortion, what is a trauma, what is not actually part of being you, is what I'm hearing. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. Good. Let's turn to your unconscious mind and let's ask unconscious mind, would this be okay? Like a lot of them are very gentle steps. Would these be okay to start doing, to start working on, to start incorporating into behavior?
Yes.
Yay! Result. So I want you to just take a moment, Julia, and I want you to allow that yes to kind of sink in into your energy field, through your skin, into your bones, into your cells. Let your unconscious mind and your intuition create some kind of partnership connection. And let that sink in through your skin, into your bones, into your cells. And there's going to come a moment where you just feel it like lock into place. And when that happens, nod your head for me. locking that into place and letting it start to ripple out into other areas of your mind, your body, your energy field, taking it like a seed and allowing it to bloom and blossom and grow, wildly fertile, out of control, so that your mind starts to really deeply receive and accept this idea, this vision, this very realistic vision of where you want to go, who you want to be, how you want to be being on this planet. And allowing all unnecessary patterns that your mind is ready to release be released in your early morning venting dreams, coming back to the body, coming back to the now. 1 is a nice deep cleansing breath in. 2 is coming back to the room. 3 is a wonderful sense of well-being. 4, an even more alert number. And 5 is eyes open, wide awake and alert. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake and alert. Hi. How are you feeling?
Good. Relaxed.
Yeah, I bet. Cool. What was interesting for you to notice about that process, if anything, or anything that you'd like to share with us, the audience?
The most interesting thing that stands out is when you called up the intuition and the subconscious mind, and they kind of bowed to each other. And then you asked about the subconscious, and it was like ginormous. Like I felt it just kind of over, like not like a bully, but like,
kind of like a bully.
But kind of like a bully. And
it's in charge.
And the intuition was just like, it didn't get small, like, oh, I'm small. It just was, it like faded into the background. And so when we brought the two together and now they're in like harmony, so those two things, acknowledging those two things, especially after you're doing the science, was like incredible.
Yay. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So we would love to hear how it goes for you after this process. If you notice anything shifting or changing, I mean, more than anything, and you probably want to go back and write down the steps that your intuition gave you, because it gave you some meaty stuff to work on. Not one of your steps was like, oh, cool, just a quick additional behavior and awesome. Like each of the things that it gave you was a very like meaty thing to dive into. So there's going to be multiple steps within each step that your intuition gave you, but now you have it. Now you know what your 3 steps are. You'll be able to see what comes up next, right? What stops you from working on it? What stops you from moving forward? And of course, we'll be here and you'll have the Deep Ministries classes to be able to work on. One of the things that I will do, if you're signed up on the email list, I'll make sure to get you a link to the very first class of track 1. The first class of track 1 is Why Am I Always Broke? That one is free. And then also From Zero to Cash Flow is the second class of track 1. That one is free also. And also I guess I'll include I Need Cash Quick. If you need cash quickly, I'll pop that link in the email, so make sure to get on my email list. It's only $5, so it's definitely worth it, because we have had people manifesting like $2,000, $5,000, $20,000 in a very short space of time. So I'm going to send that out in the email. Just make sure you're on the list. In the meantime, Julie, thank you so much for being our volunteer today. I very much honor your courage to open your heart to us and the community at large, and appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone. Thank you.
Keep us posted, Jules.
I will.
Okay, cool. All righty. So that concludes our session 6 of Deep Ministries. In our following weeks, we're going to be diving deeper and deeper into dissolving and erasing poverty mindset. We're going to have lots of resources for you. You can also be our volunteer to sign up for the weekly healing. And that, again, that's always going to be chosen intuitively. And in the meantime, do your work on your healing, work on your evolution. Let me know if you have any comments or questions. I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for joining today. Thank you to everybody who joined my Zoom room live. It was so much better. I love this so much better than trying to live stream to just my medias and then try to, is anyone there? Is anyone commenting, or is everybody sitting there quiet, or am I really just talking to nobody at all? So I appreciate you. You are welcome back indefinitely for free. You're welcome back forever. Under the membership, and the membership's only going to be $5 a month, so it's really not too much unless you're in a different country and the exchange rate kills you, like South Africa or Colombia. Those exchange rates are gonna do you in. Other than that, I'll see you next week. Have a fabulous week. Set your intention, do your mantra in the coming week, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Love, love, love.